Camera A rolling.
Alright, stand by, Mike, until we get to what we want and you'll get out of the way.
Camera B rolling.
Alright, so the trick here is, guys, we just all have to be really quiet, alright? Okay, ready, Mike? Go for it.
C1, take one, A cam mark. C1, take one, B cam mark.
You can see me?
I can see you. You can see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
All right.
If you don't mind, let me introduce myself. My name is Jamone Carter. You know, I'm from Grand Rapids, southeast side. I went to Ottawa Hills and East Kenwood. You know, I'm a good kid. So can you introduce yourself?
My name's Troy Rhodes from Grand Rapids. Graduated from Ottawa Hills, 1992. The Indians represent. I'm a barber. It's called Joby's.
Oh yeah, I know that's at.
For sure.
I know where that's at. That's crazy.
I'm 45. I'm a grown man.
I'm 17.
That's
you know,
what's up.
I'm still growing and learning.
Good, good. We all are. We all are, trust me.
So like, you know, like you told me about a little bit about yourself, like growing up.
Yeah.
Was it like growing up, like was it always tough, or you know?
I made it tough, man. I had a great childhood. I got two parents. My dad was a pastor. He's doing well in life, you know, nice house. My mom, she was working, doing well in life. It was me. It was me. I wanted to be popular. I wanted to shine. I wanted street shine, not regular shine. I had schoolboy shine. I was like Carlton, Fresh Prince. You know what I'm saying? But trying to be in the hood. So it was me, man. It was always me. Like I'm telling you, it's you. Your circumstances don't define the person you are. Whatever your parents are, whatever they did, however they are, that's not you. As good as they are or not, you know what I'm saying? My father was a pastor. That definitely doesn't make me a pastor. That was him. That's his life. Did I learn some things from him? I did. Some valuable lessons, but we gotta make good choices, bro.
So like, do you believe the choices you made young will contradict your future?
Contradict. Let me think about what you're asking me. I'm gonna re-ask it.
Okay.
Do the choices I make when I'm young, do they define how I'm gonna turn out?
Yes.
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that every choice you make has an outcome. How that outcome affects you is up to you. But like anything, the biggest thing I think I could tell you to help you is that whatever you've encountered in life, whatever you think you've gone through, whatever trouble you think you've gotten in, the solution is with you. The problem is not outside of you. Whatever you're searching for is inside of you already. You know what I'm saying? The answers you're looking for, they're in there. You gotta search them out. And I'm assuming some things about you, so let me ask some questions.
Okay.
When you're doing something that you know is wrong, do you know it before you do it?
Yes, I do.
Me too. When you're doing something wrong, do you feel funny doing it?
Yes.
Oh.
All the time.
So then that would, from my deduction, that would mean you're a relatively good guy. You make some poor choices. You see what I'm saying? And if you are a good guy that makes poor choices, you just gotta become the guy that makes good choices and know the difference between the two. I've been in trouble. I've been arrested, been to the county jail, been to prison. I've been to the military, served my country, been out of the country, been all over the world. Choices define you, but you can change the choices. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So even if you make a bad one, that's not the end of it. You're supposed to learn a lesson in that. And I would venture to say, there is no bad. It's all good. Because no matter what you go through, you learn something, you pick up something from it. The stuff you're dealing with now, you couldn't have got here without a poor choice. But the things you're dealing with now are gonna save your life. So that's why you can't necessarily just hold your head down. I've made mistakes that I'm terribly ashamed of. You know? I feel bad even talking about them. but they got me in front of you to where I can say it to you, and you might not make those same choices. And that's what it is.
So like me, I believe that people that you know that's making the same choice as me are not hypocrites. I say this because they don't want me to make the same choices they made, because they already seen the outcome of it and they already seen the ending. But me, I kind of see like a car coming and I run in front of it, knowing it's a bad outcome. If I get hit by that car, you know, I still make choices.
Now, did you make that choice just to see if you could do it, or was there a real purpose behind it?
All the choices I make, it be purposes, but sometimes not really. It's not.
I think at 17, one of the biggest hindrances is that you can't see that far into the future because you've only been alive a short period of time. That being said, the best thing you could do is slow your choices down. Think them through. My dad used to always tell me, sleep on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever you gonna make a choice, think about it, but go to sleep and then wake up. That would just give you time to think about the choice. Anything you make hastily could have a bad outcome. Slow yourself down. You're not in a hurry to do anything. You're not late for anything. You're right on time. I used to think I was late. You know how you can miss days, miss some birthdays, locked up, you know what I'm saying? You think you're behind. Then you come right back out.
It's the same.
Everybody you left is in the same position. It's not because time's not moving, it's because everybody doesn't have the same direct course of action. How do you want things to turn out, Jamone?
For yourself.
How you want your life to be? These are questions you should ask yourself. How do I see myself in a week, 5 years, 10 years? What is it gonna look like when I'm 40? I'm 45. You gonna be in good shape? You gonna be healthy? You gonna have some stuff? All those questions can be answered by the choices you make today.
But like, what type of hurdles did you face growing up?
I think typical hurdles, I think the hurdles haven't changed. The right choices to make, the right crowd to be around, what's the future gonna be like? Is this all it has to offer here in Grand Rapids? I think growing up here can jade you. What I mean by that is it can have you thinking that the whole world is like Grand Rapids, and it's not the truth. Grand Rapids is a great place, but in this great place, you gotta find your place. And that's what I had to do. I didn't have a place at first, I was searching.
So yeah, like with me, like, you know, I always think like it's stuff much bigger than Grand Rapids, because I'm like, my mindset used to be so stuck in Grand Rapids until my mom, you know, we traveled places and I seen like it was bigger than Grand Rapids.
What places have you been outside?
I've been to Chicago, I got family in Mississippi, you know, all over.
Yeah, Chicago and Mississippi, very different places.
They is.
Yeah, which
Very
one you like the best?
Chicago.
Chicago, you're a city guy.
Yeah, I've been to Atlanta too with my dad, trips.
I used to live down there.
In Atlanta?
I know forever I love Atlanta.
Yeah, with a lot of teenagers now, they grow up and they basically raise their self. So they think like they already a man, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
as I'm learning, you know, you're not a man fully yet. You still learning, you know, you still trying to process things out.
Let me ask a question. At what age do you become a man?
I don't know, I used to think you a man when you know, take care of your family, but it's bigger than that.
I don't know. That sounds very on point to me. There's a lot of wisdom in that thing. We haven't brought it up yet, but I read the Bible sometimes. You know, that helps keep me grounded. In the Bible, it'll tell you what a man's job is, protect and provide. Part of what you said is that job. So yeah, I think you can be considered a man at a certain age, but you gotta make man decisions. And man decisions to me comes down to one word: accountability. Are you able to accept the choices you make even if you make a mistake? Are you gonna be man enough to say, yeah, I made this mistake, I apologize, I'm gonna make it better next time?
Yeah, but a lot of people tend to, you know, blame others for their mistakes.
They do. And you alluded to something earlier when you said teenagers, a lot of them think they're grown, they don't have the input from other adults. you got to search that out. Everybody's not born with a perfect home, you know. Everybody's not born with mom and dad and, you know, everything's working out perfect. But that doesn't mean that there aren't people out there that you can learn from. I was told that a man should always have somebody that's feeding into him, giving him advice, an older person, you know what I'm saying, father figure. And a man also ought to have somebody who he's doing the same thing too. So the same way I'm in front of you and you learning some things from me, there's a 7-year-old out there right now that could use your help. You see what I'm saying? And if you keep that dynamic your entire life, you have a lot of purpose. One hand washes another. I'm connected to you like you connected to me. But if we don't see that we're connected, then it doesn't work. You see what I'm saying? You gotta see yourself in me, and I gotta see myself in you. You 17, I got a son your age. The same hope and well-beings that I have for him, I have to have for you.
So what do you see when you look at me through this mirror?
I see myself, I see my son, I see my future. But those are the optimistic eyes, because there's two sides to every coin. It comes down to those choices you make. You can be the guy that takes my life in a situation because you've made some poor choices. We can stop that. You can stop that with your friends. You can stop that anytime you want. The choices you make can make or break you. And they don't break you forever, but loss of time is loss of time no matter how you look at it.
You can't get it back.
Can't get it back. They're not making new time, like they're not making new land.
So, you said you went to prison, right?
Yeah.
So can you talk about that a little bit? So like, you had friends before you went in prison?
Yeah, I went in making poor choices. Back in 1996, I was coming home from the service. I had been honorably discharged, but I was categorized as having PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. In 94, I was in Somalia. And they made a movie about the incursion. It was called Black Hawk Down. I don't know if you saw the movie, but it wasn't like a war. It was a bad situation. So I'm fast forwarding. I'm getting out of the service. I'm having these PTSD symptoms and I'm acting out. I'm using drugs, I'm drinking, I'm fighting, I'm doing all these crazy things, right? And I urinated in my parents' front yard at like 6 in the morning. And my parents, like I told you, they grew up in a suburban neighborhood in Granville. So there was a neighbor across the street setting up a garage sale. She called the police. In order to save face without making a good choice, trying to make the situation go away, I pled to a charge that I shouldn't have pled to. I became a registered sex offender. I had to register every 6 months. It was embarrassing, it was tedious, it was costly. I didn't want to do it, I was ashamed of it. And a time came where I was late registering. Years down the line, 11 years later, I was late. First time I was ever late. And they wanted me to take a cop to a charge that could possibly send me to jail for a year, but you know how the system works a little bit. It wasn't gonna send me to jail, I just would have had to take the cop, you feel me? Mm-hmm. But I was stubborn. I felt like I had got beat by the system before and I wasn't gonna get beat again, so I fought it and I took it to trial. I lost. Worst day of my life. I had to leave my wife, I had to leave my kids, my mother, my father, all my friends and family, and I had to go to prison. It was tough, bro. It was tough. The things you experience, the stripping of your humanity. It's the worst thing you can experience. It's like being dead, but you're still breathing. That experience changed my life. It made me realize what we're talking about now, the choices, the arrogance of me, that because I was wrong, because I thought I was right in one situation, caused me to make a bad choice in another situation. I'm not a victim. If I am a victim, I'm a victim of Troy, my own self, you know. And that's why I'm here, to try to help you see that you don't have to be this way. You don't have to be a victim of yourself. You can be a hero to yourself. You can be the first to ever do whatever it is you think you can do. We're not great, not because we don't try. We're not great because we don't believe we're as great as we are. You ain't asking God for enough. You hear me? You can ask him for anything. You got to come to like epiphany moments. Epiphany moments is when things come clear. In
Like
prison,
I understand it.
things came clear for me. Either the entire Bible was true or the entire Bible was a lie. Either God was real or God was fake. I don't know where you fall on that. But for me, that changed my life.
So religion played a big factor in your life.
I got to say it the right way, not because you're wrong, but because this is where my growth is. It's spirituality for me. The religion part, that's something different. But that's where your research and your reading is going to come in. Why would I say something like that? Read about it and find out. I can't tell you everything. Some stuff you got to go find out on your own.
It seemed like, it's crazy because it seemed like you got all the answers, you know, and I can relate to you a lot. You know, I'm
glad you feel like that, bro. I do not have all the answers by any means. But what I do know, the answers I do have is that you got to believe in yourself first. You have to take accountability for what you want to become as a man. Nobody else can take that from you, and nobody else can put that in you. Nobody can motivate you to want to take care of Jamone, want what's best for you. That's up to you. I don't know what you want to be when you grow up. What do you want to be? What do you think you want to be?
I want to be a realtor. You know, I want to own my own business.
That's a great thing to go into, and you can make a lot of money doing that. The biggest thing you could do with that is learn everything about it. You know what I'm saying? Read about it. Learn the laws of the land. Learn the laws of this. How can you do this? Are the laws different in Michigan than they are in another state? But you got to believe you can do it. You got to already see yourself as that. I was told once when I was your age that, and this is all old job stuff, they used to tell you, don't dress for the position you have, dress for the position that you want. So when you look in the mirror right now, do you think somebody would buy a house from you?
No.
Then you need to change it up.
I
You got to walk in that reality.
I ain't wearing no suit and tie.
Well, if you think that's what you have to wear to be a realtor, then that's a thing. But what I'm saying to you is that assume that reality. Don't try to do anything. Do it. There is no try. Try is the first admission that you might not make it because you're trying. That's saying right there that it might not work out. It's gonna work out, but you gotta keep working.
Yeah, but if you actually do it and put in the effort instead of just trying,
it's going to work.
You can accomplish.
Me being a barber, I've been a barber 19 years. I've been a good barber for about 10 years. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It takes time to learn, to perfect, and assume the title that you want. You know, good guy, realtor, father, son. You know what I'm saying? All these positive things. You just have to say them and be them. Your ideal of them. You know what I'm saying? And that's good enough. You don't need my ideal of it. You know what it's supposed to be. Because we talked about that earlier, right? You feel it already. This has been good for me, bro. I like this. Ask me some more stuff.
Okay, so what's the biggest mistake you ever made and how did you handle it?
Oh, biggest mistake. From a guy that has made a long list of mistakes, there is no biggest.
So what's the toughest one?
I think the biggest, let's go with biggest. Biggest is doubting, thinking that I couldn't, thinking that there was something or somebody or some situation that was going to stop my success. Doubt. Biggest mistake. It's the biggest lie anybody ever told you. Nobody's stopping you. Nobody out here is against you. Imagine life like a coloring book. If I handed you a coloring book right now, you get a lot of pages that have whatever artwork. It could be a car coloring book. It'd be a bunch of pictures of cars, but no color. If you look at that coloring book like life, your life is like that, where you can put any color in your life that you want. But in order to make it a good picture, you got to color within the lines. You feeling me?
Yeah, but it's okay to go outside the box sometimes.
Outside the box, but the lines, let's say those lines are laws.
Mm-hmm.
It's not okay to go outside of those.
If it's a law.
You can do everything you want within inside the parameters of the law. And that's what we gotta learn. A lot of times we try to take shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. You know, sometimes you gotta be the mop guy to understand how that part works. Then once you learn that, you can move up to the fry guy. And then once you're the fry guy, you're on the register. But eventually you can own that whole McDonald's. But you gotta go through the paces. You can't come in day one thinking you can own it, because you don't even know how to run it.
You ain't even put in the effort yet.
No effort.
So, you said you're a barber, right? So did you ever think about owning your own barbershop?
I did. I still do. I go back and forth. Business is tough, man. This adult stuff is tough. Paying bills. But that's the biggest thing. Yeah, I want to own my own. I'll get there eventually, but right now it's I got other priorities.
Kids.
I got my kids, but I branched out from being a barber into real estate. I own a couple rental properties. I rent a couple houses out. So that was my first venture out into being in business on my own.
So how did that come about? Like, did it just something you just sat down and you thought of, or did you just I'm finna do it?
Well, it's research. There's no new land, so there's always going to be value in land and things that are buildings and stuff people want covered. They want to live somewhere. Supply and demand, biggest thing in business, right? If people want it, you got to be the one to be able to provide it. So you're the middleman if you're the real estate agent. Me as a barber, it seemed like a feasible thing to do, something I could get into, and it worked out for me. It's tough, but it worked out.
So you basically you networked, you met some people.
Networked, I cut hair. So I meet everybody in the barbershop. I know the bank guy, I cut his hair. Know the real estate agent, I cut his hair. Know the loan guy, I cut his hair. You see what I'm saying? So everything is about the connections you make. There are no mistakes in the world, so everybody you meet, there's a reason you meet them. You just got to find out that meaning.
I believe everything do happen for a reason.
It does. Man, 100%. 100%. But you got to find the meaning in it, or you're going to repeat the same behavior over again until you learn the lesson.
It's like insanity.
Well.
Look at you expecting a different result.
You got to change. You got to change the way you're going about it. You smart, man. I'm learning some things. That's good. You're going to be all right, man. If you ever doubted it, don't worry. You're going to be all right. It's never as bad as you think it is.
Yeah, I be down myself a lot, but then I had to pick myself up and then, and tell myself.
Me, we all go through depression. We all get down on ourselves. One of the biggest things that helped me, I think, in worst case scenarios. Meaning, if I'm not dead, I still got an opportunity. So every day I wake up, I'm just thankful to be alive because I got another opportunity. And that cuts down on a lot of depression. Because, there's days I wake up with no money. Don't think because I got stuff you always have money. That's not it. Some days I don't have money. Some days I'm wondering how I'm going to get my son some lunch money or buy him these basketball shoes he wants. But you figure that part out. The thing is, you never get down because you got another opportunity. You're still alive. Don't waste your opportunities.
So, what gets you out of bed in the morning? What motivates you?
Oh, man. Everything. Everything motivates me. Those days when you feel like you don't want to do this no more? When you want to throw in the towel and just be like, man, I don't care what happens. Those days. Because although we all feel like that sometimes, there's those times too when I want to get on the other side of that. It can't always be like this. It can't stay this bad. This can't be how it's supposed to turn out. The only way to find out is you got to live and get to that point. I'm on the other side of it, so I can tell you it ain't going to always be like you think it is right now. It's not always going to be bad. Some days it's going to be real good. You just got to keep living, man.
And everything that's glitter and gold.
Exactly. You got to be careful. You got to, they got a word for that too. It's like discernment. You know what I'm saying? You got to know the difference between what's good for you and what's bad for you. That another word, hood term, all money ain't good money. You got to know the difference between that. a football player. His last name is Bell. You know him, went to Michigan State, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He sat out a year, missed out on $14 million. Who could do that? You see what I'm saying? But he did it because this year he got $52 million. You see what I'm saying? So you take $14 million, you might miss out on the 52. Now those are extreme scenarios, but you get the point. You got to be thinking. You got to know what your future is going to be like. A lot of us sitting here thinking he should have took that $14 million. We didn't see his vision. What's your vision?
My vision.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really I think about my future, but most of the times I be thinking about like what's happening right now, like what I'm gonna do right now to prepare myself for my future.
That's good. That's real good. You got to stay in the now, but you got to dream too. The dream is, that's the fuel you're talking about, what gets you up in the morning. I don't know what you dream about, but I'm sure it's big like my dreams, you know what I'm saying? Having the cars you want, having the clothes you want, being able to go where you want, do what you want. That dream is attainable. You can get to that dream. But like you said, it starts with an everyday choice. And it seems simple, but every choice is important. What you wear, how you wear it, how do you speak to people, how do you greet them? Your attitude affects 90% of the people you deal with. I'm realizing that. My kids tell me all the time, Dad, you don't smile. I'm like, okay, I ain't never had to smile, you know what I'm saying? You get through the world not smiling, right? But smile, it lets other people know you're open for things, and it makes those connections that we're talking about. And also lifts your spirits.
Smiling can, you know, make other people around you happy if they see you smiling all the time.
That's right. That's right. It's hard to get in trouble when you're smiling.
True.
You know, you make better choices when you're happy. That's that personal thing, man.
What is the bravest thing that you ever done?
Bravest. When you first asked me that, I was gonna think of something cool to say about when I was in the service, but the truth of the matter is, bro, I was scared every day. The bravest thing I ever did, being a father to my children. Point blank. That's the bravest thing I ever did.
So you thinking, you know, like, have you ever thought for your son, like, what do you want his future to be?
Definitely. And it's weird that you asked that because my son wants to be a basketball player, you know, and as a parent, you know how hard that goal is. But do I rain on his parade and tell him he can't do it? Or do I do everything to help him get there?
Motivated.
There it is. So yeah. You want what's best for your kids. I want what's best for you. I don't even know you. But I'm telling you, as you grow, you start realizing the connectivity between everybody. You know, the fact that you know people I know or in the circles I'm in. Who's to say that you wouldn't run into my daughter and be a potential boyfriend? So why wouldn't I help you if you could possibly be my son-in-law? You see what I'm saying? But you got to look at every situation like that. Even if I don't gain from it, you doing good is me doing good.
Because I'm gaining knowledge talking to you.
Right, and I'm gaining knowledge talking to you. I hope you see that. Because this is helping me. I'm going to tell you a problem we have. If I see you outside of this situation, will we speak to each other? Or will we just mug each other and keep it moving? You see what I'm saying? This same energy that we have right here, we gotta live with this energy. You gotta carry this everywhere. Everybody's a potential me. And all the kids I run into are potential yous.
You know, I got a sister that look up to me. I make a lot of poor decisions, and she always see me, you know, like locked up. She always see like where her brother at, cause I'm always locked up.
You got a lot of love in your heart, man. I can hear the way you talk about your family and just situations. And I'm gonna say, keep that. That's the important stuff. Those people that you're talking about, they love you no matter what situation you're in. You know what I'm saying? You could have been a garbage man and they would have been your #1 fan, right?
Especially your parents.
So if you don't pull nothing else out of here, man, reciprocate the love you give. If people are giving you love, give it back. Because we need our sisters. I got an older sister, and you know, a lot of times I wouldn't have made it through if it wasn't for her support, you know. When I came home, she was like, you can get back on your feet, you can get it back together. You need that.
#1 supporter.
#1 supporter. And you ain't even gotta pay him. You know what I'm saying? What could be better than that? Yeah, that's good, man. Stay tight with your sister. I'm tight with mine.
Yeah, I got an older sister too. I'm like the middle child.
That's cool. J. Cole talk about being the middle child. It's a lot to be said. You know, when you're in the middle, you get wisdom from both sides. You know what I'm saying? You got that same.
Older and the younger.
There you go. You live in the dynamic we was talking about. That's good, man. That's good. Keep that. Keep that.
Like I grew up without my father, and then I had like a role model like my father. You know, he took me in. You know, he thought like he was my real father, but it turned out he wasn't my father. But he still took me in. You know, raised me like I was one of his. Until this day.
You still listen to him?
Yeah, I still listen to him like to this day.
Y'all still tight?
Yeah, like he just got out of prison. He just started 10 years. He just got out of prison, but he still kept in touch with me. Like while he was in prison, calling me every day. You know, just.
And he's remorseful about the choices he made. He
Yes.
feel bad about leaving you.
Yes, he do.
I know. I can't imagine, but you missing out on that, did that make you make some poor choices?
Yes, it did.
Made you act out of character.
Cause I feel like if he was still like out, I wouldn't be doing half the stuff I did.
So you was kind of lashing out at the system. You didn't know how to fight. You was angry and didn't know how to fight. I'll tell you what my dad used to tell me. I got to tell you all this stuff because it comes back to me. My dad used to tell me, Troy, you can be angry, but don't sin. Growing up, I didn't understand that. I would get caught up in my feelings and emotions, car wrecks, fleeing and eludings, fights, whatever. That's the bad part. We as men, we don't identify enough with all our emotions. It's okay for us to cry. It's okay for you to be sad. It's okay for you to be all these things. What's not okay is for you to hurt somebody else in that process. You see the difference? Now, you could have been all those things, angry about your dad's situation and all that, but you ended up hurting yourself, which ended up hurting him, which ended up hurting your you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just a chain reaction. Got to step away from it, take a deep breath. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry those things happened to you, man. I'm sorry this world is the way it is, but it is this way. And we got to interact with the world that we've been given. It is what it is. I'm glad he made it home, man. I'm glad he made it home. You there for him? Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely. I still, you know, I feel the love. You know, he's not my biological father, but I feel the love though.
And that's all that's important, man. That biology is important. It's good for you to know where you came from. But I was adopted myself. And there's nothing you can tell me that would make me think my parents love me any less than if they had me physically. I feel like I'm a chosen one. I feel like, you know, my birth certificate says I was born in Wayne County, Detroit. No parents, no nothing. But I was adopted by a great family and had a great life, you know. So how you start doesn't mean how you're gonna finish. You might have had a rough start. That's okay. You learned some hard lessons early. That's okay too. It's gonna make you a better man in the future because you're gonna make good choices from now on.
Right.
In order to be a real estate agent, you gotta pass some tests, you gotta follow some rules, you gotta jump through some hurdles. It's gonna be some slow times when you're not selling no houses. You know what I'm saying?
That's the crazy part. Like, yeah. Like,
But you gotta get out there and do that grind, man, because it's all worth it. And if you love it, you know, Jamone agent. Yeah, I like the way that sounds. I like the way that sounds. That's a good look, man.
so with me, I gotta make better decisions. Like,
100%. I don't know what brought you in here. I don't think that matters. Not to me. You know, you in here. You know, what you learn in prison is I was in there for something stupid. Didn't hurt nobody but myself. There's guys in there for murder. We're all in the same place. Don't matter how you get there. So the stuff we doing about comparing paperwork, for what? For what? You want to see if your crime is better than my crime? Make it make sense, man. We gotta give, what's the best way to say this? Oh, it's like being a farmer. If you are a fruit farmer, you plant the fruit seeds and you expect to see the fruit. The choices we make are like the seeds we plant. So plant good seeds, make good choices, and then you'll get the right return in the future. You know, eventually,
you're gonna have a lot of fruits.
if you plant the right stuff. So whatever you feed is gonna grow, is what I'm saying to you. If you feed into negativity, if you always gotta gossip and be on Facebook talking about who did what, who about to fight, who doing this, that stuff is gonna grow and eventually it'll get on you. But if you always on there talking about who's going to college, who's getting this certificate, who's doing something positive, then that's what you're gonna surround yourself with. It's cause and effect, man. Simple science.
You know how society view us and put us now like men is not supposed to cry.
Yeah, they do sell some BS to us, don't they?
Like men supposed to, how you see on cartoons, how men is big and strong.
Yeah. All those things are true. I think men are supposed to be that, but I think men, just like women, we have all the emotions. And I'm a father, right? I got daughters and sons. I used to think you would raise your daughters different than you raise your sons, right? It's not. It's the same thing because you're raising them with the love. And the love, there's no difference in love, right? So if it's good for my daughter, that means it's good for my son. If it's good for me to ask my daughter, why are you crying? Are you hurt? Are you just sad? Then it's good for me to ask you that same thing. You got feelings. And I'm sure, like me growing up, like most boys growing up, if you were crying, hurt, or whatever, nobody tried to figure out why. They tell you to suck it up.
Suck it up,
Be a
man.
man.
Good
Punch
boy.
you in the chest.
Good boy.
Right, they punch you in the chest. But what that is compounded bad behavior. And we just got to change it. You know what I'm saying? We'll hear things like, it'll make you gay if you act like that. Nah, that ain't it. Gay is gay. And that don't have nothing to do with feelings and emotions. That's something different. Feelings and emotions is something all humans deal with, and we all ought to have a good handle on our emotions. How else you gonna make good decisions? If you in your feelings and you mad, how you gonna make a good decision? You gotta.
You gonna make a poor decision.
There you go.
A choice
So-
you gonna regret.
Exactly. So you gotta take these moments, man, and look at you. You answering questions I'm asking. You already know the answers. So maybe your iron just needed to rub up against my iron to get it sharper.
Get it sharpened, because you can't sharpen no iron with some plastic.
There you go.
It's gonna go right through the plastic.
So now that you see the dynamic, we gotta put this dynamic back in place. You know what I'm saying? You need to talk to older dudes. I need to talk to younger dudes. You need to talk to a younger dude to prevent him from going what you going through. And hopefully that chain and that pattern will pick up. Yeah, little dog, it's okay to cry. Did you skin your knee, or are you sad because you lost your candy money? You see what I'm saying? It's a difference. You treat different things different. If you skinned your knee, you need a Band-Aid. If you sad because you lost your candy money, I gotta address that situation different. But we gotta ask the question first. I can't assume that you just crying for no
Right.
reason.
Right.
Once again, man, I had to grow up to learn it. I've been the same guy. Don't cry, you ain't hurt, all that. You live and you learn, man. But now that you know, you gotta act different. You can't be down on a brother for crying because he get locked up in this place. You can't let somebody else call him a punk now that you know what you know, right? Either you a good guy all the time or you ain't a good guy no time.
You can't be it both ways. You know what I'm saying? A bad
Man,
guy
I like
and a
talking
good
to
guy.
you. We should have been doing this, bro.
You can't.
We would have never been in trouble if we'd have been talking to each other, huh?
True.
Right. Now you get it. We got to do this in the world, man. Can't wait for these cameras, man. This stuff is real life. This camera stuff is cute. It's good. I like it. It's meaningful.
But this the stuff, this type of stuff happen in everyday life besides the
Everyday
cameras.
life. You ought to be able to talk to a grown-up anytime you want. And that grown-up ought to not be afraid to talk to you. I know grown men that are afraid of y'all. Imagine that.
Older than us though.
Older than you and afraid of you. Doesn't make sense, does it?
No.
And you scared of them.
Yeah, cause they a lot bigger than me.
But they faking. We all the same, bro. I'm just 45. I was 17 once. Used to feel just like you. Played high school football, chewed some bubble gum, did all these things. Same stuff you did. Played marbles, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is. We got similar things in our existence. But if we don't talk about them, we think we different. Grew up in similar neighborhoods. We went to the same high school. See what I'm saying? That's
Yeah, but-
crazy.
Yeah, like with you growing up though, in your era, like I think it's kind of different, but history repeats itself, though. It do. So like, do you believe like the apple don't fall from the tree? Fall far from the tree.
I
Like,
do.
you believe that?
I believe it. But it goes back to that original thing about us making good choices. Does my son have a lot of similarities like me? He does. A lot of my personality, he's got it in him. But he's got me. And that's what I didn't have. I mean, I had my dad, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now when I see something that reminds me of me, I can say, hey man,
Correct it.
right, that's not a good choice. But that's the importance of being around for every choice and decision you made. What if I'd have made a choice not to be a father? Now he got to figure it out on his own. He'll be sitting over there.
Trying to figure things on his
Right.
own.
When I could have just told him, hey man, that's not the way this goes.
Hey man, I did that when I was
Did
your
that,
age.
right,
I did that.
Right.
I don't want you to
See,
do
but
that.
now you got that wisdom. You feel me? At 17, you got enough to tell a guy that's 15, hey man, don't do that.
They look at me like, man, you in my same boat. You in my same
They do,
predicament.
bro, but you know what's gonna make the difference? When they see you make different choices. When you start changing in front of them and they think, oh man, he just like me, nah. That brother's going to work. That brother has an apartment. That brother has a degree. That man has, whatever accolades you're gonna accumulate in life, Just keep living. The walk is everything, This is not a sprint. This life thing is not a sprint. This is a marathon. It's about who lasts the longest.
True, and you gotta crawl before you walk.
Definitely, and we crawling now. I mean, don't assume because I'm a little bit older, I'm walking and running. No, I'm still crawling out here, but it's okay because I'm crawling at a faster pace, and I'm comfortable with it. I'm at peace with it. I don't have to look over my shoulder. You feel me?
Right, because you're
I
not
don't
in the
have to-
streets.
Right.
You gotta,
Right. That's a different. That peace of mind is everything.
and you ain't worried about what everybody else doing. You worry about yourself, your kids, your family.
That self-focus, man, is everything. That's gonna keep Jamone out of a lot of stuff. If you're not worried about what A, B, and C person is saying, all you worried about is getting Jamone better.
Right.
You stay at a lot of mess like that, man. It's hard to get in trouble when you focus on yourself. I don't know nobody get in trouble by themselves.
No, they friends gotta play a big role in that.
Well, it's friends, choices, poor decisions get you every time. Get you every time. I was always told, man, in a group of friends, it's only one leader.
Right.
So which person are you in your group of friends?
The leader, but it's
But are
only
you
one
leading
leader.
good? Are you
Yeah.
leading good?
No.
See what I'm
sometimes
saying?
it's
That's
bad.
the thing. You gotta lead good. Because these guys' life is in the balance. If y'all decide, oh man, we're gonna run in here and, take this cell phone off
It can
this
cost
car
you.
seat.
It can cost you.
Now 3 of y'all, B&E, you feel me? It's just that simple. Over a Apple cell phone. That stuff is nothing when you look back on it, right?
Then
In
when
the
you locked
moment,
up,
it looked
yeah,
good.
you locked up, you like, damn,
Right, man.
I'm doing 5 years for a little phone.
And I didn't even want the phone that bad. Right. You got a lot of wisdom, brother. I'm gonna say, man, trust yourself. Trust your decision making. Don't second guess yourself. If you don't know, be man enough to ask. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You're 17. You're not supposed to know everything at 17. I don't know everything at 45. I appreciate you letting me come in here and talk to you, man. This has helped me learn some things. This worked both ways.
Right.
We should do this again.
Okay.
My guy. Who would you not?
That's it.
That's it.